out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? You are tuned into Apartment 5B podcast. So it's about your man Kill. I got my squad with me in effect as always. I got my brother E. What's going on, Easy?
What's the word, baby? 01830. The new album is out now. Go run that shit up.
It's out. We're going to be talking about that this episode and everything like that. I got my brother AG. What's good, bro?
Peace. Appreciate you inviting me on here, bro.
You already know, bro. My brother Spence from Philly. What's good, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
All right. No doubt. And Veg out of BK. What's good, bro?
About to go get a coat, man. AG got a whole outfit on. Like, let me go get my shit.
You gotta stay fly. You know what I'm saying? I see the Macho Man, though. I see it.
It's been a while, Kill. I gotta tell some jokes. Come on, man.
God damn. All right.
That jacket is Illmatic, huh? I just realized that.
Word, yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. All right. Damn, man, you done fucked up everything. We got 01830 out right now, produced by DJ Manipulator. Talk about it, bro. Let them know where they can get it, everything like that, bro.
Yeah, man, you can stream it everywhere. I got the CDs on deck for, anybody who still wants the physical copies. And, there's a bunch of you guys in this room that I want to thank, for your support. Y'all been holding me down and the response has been really good. Just that traditional East Coast hip hop sound. DJ Manipulator, on the beats and the scratches. And, I'm holding down the bars heavily like I always do. I got a couple features there. My brothers, my ST Squad Terminology, Artisan Snuck, my man Sky Zoo, and my man Mass Pike Miles is on there. It's a very well-rounded project in my opinion. The response has been great. So, run that shit up.
No doubt. I was blessed to hear the advanced copy of it. Like I told Easy, I really think it's his best work. You know what I mean? I think it's really his best work. And that says a lot because he's got an ill discography. And again, anybody who coming out with their best work this far into the game says a lot about them. So, yeah, definitely a dope album. My brother Sean in the building. What's going on, fam?
What's good, fellas? How y'all?
Peace.
And everything good, bro. Everything good, man. What's popping with you?
Man, jet lag. Just came from LA, man. Just got back to the East Coast, so trying to catch my breath a little bit.
I hear you, bro. I appreciate you making the show tonight, man. So, yeah, I mean, no doubt. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. I got to get a shout out. At Blue Flame Kid had posed this question: who were the most influential MCs in the game? And then my man, not at 94 West, hit me up like, yo, this is a dope question. Yo, Kill, what you think? So number one, I always want to give credit where credit is due. I ain't never bite no topics. If I see the topic on the timeline and they ain't mine, I'ma definitely shout out the person who it was. So shout out to Blue Flame Kid for asking the question. But it had me thinking, I'm like, damn, off top. You know what I mean? I don't even know, because when you say, the most influential, you kind of first thing I thought of was Nas, like name a rapper who I ain't influenced. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, and I told everybody on the panel, however you define influential is what we're looking at. I got R&B, I got producers, whatever everybody got on tap. We could do that. I'm going to throw the big joker out because his name is going to get mentioned. Rakim. You know what I mean? Well, I'll say this. You know what? I'm not even going to throw the big joker out. I'm going to start with who I said that first came to mind. And the first person who came to mind to me was Big. You know what I mean? About being influential, because I feel like Big wasn't the originator of this. Heavy and LL, I felt did an ill job of doing it before him. But I just felt like for some reason when Big did it, probably because it sold a bunch of records and we was getting into the get money era of hip hop, everybody started doing it, which was being able to give you the juicy and then turn around and give you, you know what I mean, the warning, you know, turn around and give you, you know, Big Papa, then turn around and give you Unbelievable. First time I heard Juicy, it was like, nah, man, I wanted more of that, what was the joint off the Who's the Man soundtrack? Yeah, Party and Bullshit. Yeah, it was like, so the second, every time I'm about to sleep on Big, but then I hear fucking Warning, and I'm like, yo, it's crazy. Like I said, Big Papa, Net One More Chance, then you hear Unbelievable. So Big just had the formula to be able to do that, and I felt like Jay tried it, Nas tried it. Hey, everybody tried it after Big. It was like, how do I make the song for the radio, but then still make a song for the streets? To me, Jay's whole second album is what I call a half and half album. Half the album, I hate that shit. The other half, I love that shit, because half of it is the City Is Mine, which I think is one of the worst songs to fuck ever. The Foxy Brown and fucking what's my man Babyface. I mean, the fact that Babyface, Foxy Brown, and Jay-Z, it's like, what was that vague and Raw when Eddie Murphy Pop kept asking him like, yo, you with Danny Terrio? Like, Jay, why the fuck are you with Babyface? Like, what are we doing? Why are y'all in the same studio together? But that was Jay trying to get his wheels on understanding how to do that. But then the other half of the album is, Where I'm From, Streets Is Watching, some of the, Friend or Foe Part 2, which is Imaginary Players. Some of Jay's best work, in my opinion, is also on that album. So that was the first person who came to mind. So I'm going to throw Big out. On the R&B tip, I got BBD. I think for some reason, whenever we talk about hip-hop to R&B, it like always starts with Mary. It's like, yo, Mary and Puff, they was the one who bridged the gap. And it's like, truth be told, it was BBD, because these dudes was rocking, the jumpers with like the Shirt King graffiti on them and everything. Every Mike had a verse in damn near every song. So it was just like, I felt like they were the ones, and that came out in 90. Mary is like on the cusp of 91, 92, but I really felt like BBD is one of the first people who really like kind of ushered that in, for all the hip hop and R&B. And then on the producer side of things, y'all know me, I'm gonna start off with Dilla. I mean, the influence that he had on the whole game is just crazy, from the drums to the bass tones, just everything he did. I mean, to this day, I say everybody in a touch of jazz owes Dilla's whole family, his kids, 10% of whatever they make. All them a touch of jazz boys, Flowetry, Kendrick, fucking Music, Flowetry, anybody in that camp all sounded like Dilla. Jill Scott first album sounded all like Dilla. And then even when he went away from that and did the donut style, niggas was biting that too. It was almost like, and I think it was Madlib, and it was almost like, damn, Dilla dead. It was almost like, what we do next? It's like niggas looked at Dilla to kind of make the way for like what's coming next. I mean, the hand claps. I mean, Dilla even kind of said that about High Tech. Like, yeah, I hear you with the hand claps, my nigga. Like just the influence was everywhere. So those are my three: Big, BBD, and Dilla. Easy. Who's one of the people who are the most influential to you, and why?
I gotta add, because Biggie's my favorite rapper too. So I kind of we can never give Biggie too many flowers. I gotta add to.
Not at all.
The one thing that's very important about Big's influence is that, in addition to, influencing like balance, like the songs for the streets, the song for the clubs, is that when you talk about Hev and LL Cool J, when they were making radio records, the rhymes were very radio friendly. Biggie was making radio records, he was still talking that shit.
Right. That's a good point.
That's what they was everybody kind of like, grasped onto that as well.
You know what? My fault, Eve, real quick, because I'm bugging. I ain't even read this. The other thing was just the influence of Cristal. Now, I know with Jay and Big, it's very much like Jazzy Jeff and Cash Money, like who invented the Transformer scratch first. So I know a lot of things I'm about to say, it could have went either which way. Because, I mean, the Cristal, the Coogee sweaters, all that stuff that Big was talking, that niggas started getting with, and even from the whole not writing your rhymes down. Now, again, I don't know if Big started that or Jay started it. I can't remember which came first. But like Easy said, it just wasn't the influence of that. And that's a great point that, like you said, Ellen, and I don't know if Hev worded the rhymes down, but Big just stayed him. You know what I mean? I think that was the difference. Like Hev, I love Hev to death, but I don't know if Hev was ever as hardcore as Biggie was. Like Hev was never C4 to your door, no beef, no more type rapper. So when E is saying like he never watered his rhymes down. I don't know if Heb really did, but Heb just never was big. You know what I mean? But definitely had to put out there.
Rhymes down as a poor choice of words. I didn't say that. I just feel like it was more friendly. It was just,
right, more radio friendly. My bad.
More on topic. You talking about a woman, Heavy D would talk. He would talk to the woman. Biggie,
nah, you're right. Biggie's still saying bitch. Nah, you 100% right. My bad. E, what you got up next, bro?
Yeah, I mean, since you didn't want to go there, we got to start with God, man. We got to start with Rakim. You know, any rapper that you hear now, the foundation of what they do is Rakim.
Right.
You know, Rakim is pretty much responsible for the evolution of the MC. When shit was, Dr. Seuss rhymes, Cat in the Hat with the scat and the dat. Rakim came and really elevated it. So, I mean, that in itself really don't need much more than that. I mean, there was a lot of there was probably certain things in there, a little before my time, but fashion-wise, maybe like the gold ropes that he did. I don't know if you know what I mean? From what I understood, he pioneered a lot of that as well. But first and foremost, and most importantly, just the evolution of the MC, just to, how we structure our bars to this day is pretty much the Rakim model. So as an MC, I gotta go there.
Right. No doubt.
R&B, I have to say New Edition because you said BBD, which is valid as well, but New Edition is because all the boy bands came after that and modeled this shit after that. Obviously they were after the Jackson 5, but the shit they was doing, right? I was actually watching Sean Stockman pod, and he got Brooke Payne on there. And it was to hear those stories was really dope too, because I never seen what this dude looked like in my life. Apparently, right. It was that really reminded me of the influence. And then if we're gonna go to producers, I gotta go with Timbaland, man. Because
trust me, he on my list.
Yeah, when Timbaland came in the game, he brought something fresh, and there was a run where I'm like, oh shit, Timbaland did this, and I was a credit reading ass motherfucker, and I'm like, oh shit, Timbaland ain't do this. So that influence is crazy, just like with the whole double time and all that.
Yeah,
can definitely not front on Tim.
Nah, no doubt. Spence, who you got up, bro?
I want to actually start with the forefathers of his lyricism, because I think a lot of times they get left out of this conversation, and that's the Mo D, the Grandmaster Cass, and Melly Mel, because they're the tree that the branches come off of, and some of your greatest MCs of today learn from these guys. When you think of a Melly Mel with The Message, and you think about Rakim with The Ghetto, you think of some of those verses and them lyrics in that. You get that from a Melly Mel. You think of a Grandmaster Cash with the brash, the flashiness, the braggadocious, like I'm that dude. Big Daddy Kane all day. You get that from Big Daddy Kane all day. And then you look at a Kool Moe Dee, from when him battling Busy B, how Busy B came in the party rocked the party, and you see how Kool Moe Dee came in with something totally different. And that's some KRS-One stuff right there.
Yeah.
And these dudes, and the guys, on the next generation just took it to the next level. But these guys are the foundation of where these guys began to be the greatest of all time.
Nah. I'm glad you said that, fam. It's one of the reasons I love having you on here, because you're a little older than me. So even for me, like I say, I always believe you fell in love with the culture at 10. I'm, 84, I'm 10. So I'm falling in love with the Houdinis, the Fat Boys, the Run DMCs. And I really didn't get on to Mo D until go see the Dr. Mo D. I really didn't know a lot about the Treacherous 3 and the Funky 4 plus one more. So that's why I'm always trying to still do my homework. So I'm glad you shouted them out, because for me...
Oh, go ahead. My bad.
No. I was just saying, for me, that was before my time. You know what I mean? Even if it was only 2 years before my time, I really wasn't tapped in until, Run DMC, Rockbox, and stuff like that. So, but what were you going to say?
But, and also, Kool Moe Dee, they don't really give him the credit far as him being the original old school and actually making it through a couple generations. He was on self-destruction with Stetson Sonic and Light and all
Yeah.
these people. Like he's like we say LL, but Kumo D actually was the first to make it
Right.
there a couple
Right.
generations, and a
Right.
lot of times he gets overlooked by that.
Yeah. I think it's that yellow banana suit he had on, but we gotta stop holding shit. We gotta stop holding that shit against the man. So nah. But great point, Spencer. I love that you brought that up. AG, who you got up, bro?
All right. Just to expound on what you said about Big, just to take it a little bit further. I think Big with that formula in specific is life after death, because I think for better or for worse, that plagued a lot of MC's career to check all those boxes. Like Jadakiss is one. Jadakiss is in my top 5, but he's tried to make that formula over and over again, and I think that's like really hurt his album making. But and specifically for Jay, like reaching out to other demographics, like where how Big went and got Bone Thugs and Harmony from the Midwest, Too Short, from the West Coast. Jay took that on, he tried to do it on volume 1, but he perfected it on volume 2. And then after that, he was out of here. So, like you said, Big with that formula, everybody tried to emulate that, especially from New York. But for mine, you brought up Nas, so I'm gonna go with Nas. Evidently, I got on the Illmatic jacket, as Vague pointed out. So let's get the obvious influences out of the way. The Illmatic, everybody doing the Baby, album covers. Everybody, or themselves as a young kid. That's an obvious one. The super producers, like Illmatic being one of the first ones to take the super producers to compile an album. He was one of the first ones to do that. Then people started doing that afterwards. On Light Years, he brought it back and brought up like, I brought back with Hit Boy, sticking with one producer and putting out projects with one producer. The symphony shows, all that stuff. Nas influenced the culture in a lot of different ways. But I think one way that nobody ever really points out is his unreleased material. I think he needs to get more credit for that. Because, I look to the Lost Tapes. The Lost Tapes is a classic in its own right, but it's an album comprised of unreleased tracks that we all loved, that was leaked out, and floating around there on the internet, and it's structured, like an actual, curated like an actual album, flows like an actual album, so I consider it an album. You know what I mean? And if you don't have the Lost Tapes, I don't think modern day, you don't get an Untitled Unmastered from Kendrick. I don't think you get a care package from Drake where, from the label, they say, let's take your stuff on SoundCloud or whatever that's been floating around out there, package it together and put it out for mass consumption for retail, and let's profit off this. The Lost Tapes was the first to do that. And I think that nobody really points to Nas and say like, yo, Nas pioneered that. And a lot of people, have put out their previous unreleased works after him. So I think that's one of the things that he doesn't get enough credit for.
Yeah, that's a dope point. Very dope point. Also the QB chain, like you said, the whole QB chain. So, I felt like that was kind of bringing the chains back into play where everybody had that. But definitely agree with you with Nas. Vague, who you got up for your first ball?
I also had Nas, but for a different reason. That also doesn't get talked about enough. Big had a different flow once upon a time. Jay had a different flow. Prodigy, even Busta. But Nas rhymed the same, right? Like if Big never really changed his flow, and we know with Big and Busta in particular, that was more of Puff saying, yo, use your regular voice, rhyme like this. But Nas has always been that. And he came out around the same time. Nas and the Wu, right? Like early Big sounded like early 90s MCs with the, Biggie got the hype shit. Like it was a real hype wordplay kind of flow, right? And even when you listen to Prodigy on Juvenile Hell, him and Havoc, and Prodigy even said it in an interview before he passed about hearing Illmatic and saying, I get it now. And then that's when we got Shook Ones, and their flow was a little bit more laid back, chill, probably closer to who they were as people. But Nas was always that. So I kind of feel like he doesn't get a lot of credit for being compared to his peers, but we know what he said to Jay-Z, right? When he used to rap like the Fruits nigga. But it's true. Jay was a whole different rapper. You know what I'm saying? Before the skinny nigga on the boat. When we heard the skinny nigga on the boat, we was like, oh, okay, I like this Jay. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think Nas don't get a lot of credit for at the time just being an original in that way, and other MCs who were his peers and successful commercially changing up their flows to become, you know, a little bit more palatable, whatever the fuck, to anybody who would listen, because that particular style for Big in general that worked on Warning and records like that, obviously he didn't carry it into Life After Death, because when you listen to Big Papa and Unbelievable, that's just a better version of Big, you know, at the end of the day.
All right. Good point. Sean, what's up, bro? I got a feeling somebody's coming out of Queens with you, so I'm already.
Of course,
right.
Y'all give Nas the love that he deserved, but I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna be in my backyard. I'm gonna go with G-Rap, because I don't think G-Rap gets enough credit for what he's done for not just for Queens, but, you know, East Coast hip hop. You know what I mean? He's the godfather, you know, pun intended. He's the one who created that mafioso that we got. You don't get Cuban Links or Reasonable Doubt. It was written Life After Death without G-Rap. You don't get that version of Nas. Nas is like a hybrid, because you got Rakim and you got G-Rap. It's like, you ever seen a movie Underworld, when homie got bit by the wolf and the vampire, he was the hybrid? That's how Nas is with Rakim and G-Rap. He's the hybrid, but I would say that he leaned more into the G-Rap code more than he does in the Rakim code. And what I mean by that, if Rakim was the Old Testament, Nas is the New Testament of hip hop, because Nas was able to take it to a level where it was more of a interaction with the 90s golden era of hip hop that gravitated to the Bigs, to the J's, to the Woos, to, you know, to everybody who followed behind that pedigree what he was putting out there. So I've always felt that G-Rap was the one who kind of struck that iron for everyone else to follow behind, you know, just because of his ability to rap, his ability to come up with the mafioso, the storytelling. He was like, he checked every single box as an MC, but he wasn't the flashy one. He wasn't the one that was going to like give you like the big chains, or like, you know, like the Rakim, or the bravado like a Big Daddy Kane or KRS-One being the teacher. G-Rap did his thing. He was ahead of his time. In my opinion, he was ahead of his time. Corona Stand Up, he was ahead of his time. But so many came from him. Big said it himself. Yo, I listen to G-Rap's cadence. Nas always talk about him. Jay talk about him. Mobb D. You get all of those guys.
Talk about him.
You know what I mean? You get all of that, you know, styles. You know what I mean? You get all of that from that tree. You're talking about lyrical monsters. You're not talking about like just your average spitter. You're talking about monsters on a mic that say, yo, this is that guy. This is that guy. So G-Rap is mine. My other one for R&B would be Devontae Swing, because you don't get Timberland before you get Devontae. When he went and got that whole pop thing going on, and he had Genuine, Timberland, Magoo, all of them in the lab teaching them, because he was looking for Prince. He wanted to get Prince blueprint, couldn't connect with Prince. Came back to Virginia, was like, yo, I can't connect with Prince in Minnesota, so I'm gonna just come back and do my own thing. So he created that swing mob, and like you said, Easy, you know, you talking about Timbo. Devontae was the one who's showing how to layer those beats, how to put it in format, how to put it all together. He doesn't get enough respect. He was the architect of one of the most raunchiest R&B groups in Jodeci, and he still started his own wave at the same time. He created two different branches of music at the same time. And my last one is Prince Paul for my DJ. Prince Paul does not get enough credit. Prince Paul, he's influenced my greatest producer of all time, RZA, and he also influenced your guy, Jay Dilla. And he actually gave Native Tongues, you know, their start as well, Sonic. So you're talking about another producer that's low-key. He doesn't ask for all the accolades. He doesn't ask for the rah-rah. He just was one of the architects that no one talked about a lot. RZA talked about him being a mentor. Jay Dilla talked about Prince Paul being a mentor as well as Native Tongues, of course. But he's another one that doesn't get enough credit and respect, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can I expand on that real quick?
Yeah.
Real quick. Just real quick on G-Rap. I don't think we can name anybody else that has a whole rap subgenre to their credit. That's insane. Like the mafioso rap, bro has a whole subgenre to his credit, starting with Road to Riches in '89. And if you wasn't, copying the mafioso rap style with the Crime Family and adopting the monikers like the Wu Gambinos and the Escobars and the Frank Whites and all that, you was at least aesthetically copying that. You know what I mean? Like Snoop with the Dogfather album, like even down south, Scarface had the Untouchables. Wu had Wu Syndicate. You had the Firm. Like those are the lesser, mafioso albums. Puff Daddy and the Family. Like the mafioso genre ran the whole mid to late '90s, and it all started, under G Rap. You know what I mean? And he took it there even further on 4, 5, 6. So I think that was a good pull for G Rap, man, because he has a whole subgenre to his own credit. Being the godfather of that. So I think that's dope.
Yeah, true. And I was gonna say good pull with the Devontae Swing, because I think at the time a lot of people really, if you like Easy said, if you weren't a liner note junkie, the average person don't know who was producing for Jodeci. You know what I mean? Like I feel like before, after we got, of course, you don't want the executive producer all in your videos, there was a time nobody really even knew what the producer was. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't have known a Timbaland, back in the 90s, in the early 90s. You would have just been like, oh, I like Genuine's beats, but you wouldn't have known. But now you see Timbaland rapping, you see him in the video. So I think Devontae Swing would definitely get more love if a lot more people knew about him. Next boy I got up is Grand Poobah. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on the timeline about Polo getting started in DC in the 2000s and this person. I'm like, whoa, let's all bring that back to Poobah. Let's bring that all back to Grand Poobah. And we're gonna start with the quote: Jabot's hanging baggy, heel figure on the top, knapsack on the back. That's just a flavor hop. Like that right there was the uniform for damn near anybody in the 90s. Like what Buck say, baggy black jeans, knapsack, and my beeper. Like that was just the uniform back then. I mean, for people who may not even know, Young Boys, Jabot's was the jeans that niggas was rocking back then. I didn't even know what heel figure was before Poobah. Like niggas would be like, oh, Snoop did that, or he wore it on Saturday Night. Nigga, before Snoop, Aaliyah, before all them ads in the vibe, it was Poobah. This nigga literally made a whole brand, basically a no-name brand, compete with a known brand. You even had low heads rocking heel figure. You know what I mean? So to take a brand that nobody even knew what this was before this man said it, and it literally, I mean, again, heel figure with Polo was always there, but heel figure was right there too. You know what I mean? So for him to be able to do that, and Poobah to me was the first rapper who I'm like, yo, I want to see the video, not just to hear Poobah spit. I want to see what he rocking. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just as interested to see is what he's going to rhyme about, is what he's going to wear. That Alpine joint rugby he had on, Yo MTV Raps with Mary, what's the 4-1? I'm still looking for that joint. I just refuse to pay $1,500 for it. I can find it. I'm just not paying $1,500 for no rugby. But that's all Poobah right there. And I mean, and even the way he rhymed, the slow flow and everything like that, I just feel like I always tell people, for a moment in time, that moment could have been 3 weeks, could have been 6 months. Grand Poobah was the nastiest MC walking the planet. I know if I saw a featured Grand Poobah, it was the same way seeing produced by Premier, like from 94 to 98. You had to hear it. You didn't care if it was a nobody. If Poobah's on it, it's dope. If Primo produced it, it was dope. So I got Grand Poobah. On the R&B tip, I got D'Angelo. I mean, I think just the whole entire neo-soul genre just is all D'Angelo's. You had your knockoffs with Music, with Chico DeBarge, with my man Myron. You just had everybody trying to get that sound that D'Angelo had. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's just the neo-soul joint. And the hard part is, it's not like the dudes who was doing it was whack. I think Chico DeBarge, Long Time No See, is a 5-mic album to me. I love Music's first album. Y'all know I love Myron's first album. So it's not like the knockoffs were even bad knockoffs, but you could tell. You see that video, Iggy, it's got D'Angelo written all over it. You see We Can Get Down by Myron with Spinderella, it got D'Angelo written all over it. So that's it. And then as a producer, I'm going with Pete Rock. I mean, the echoing horns just off rip. The 90s, every producer was using the echo horns. Filtered bass lines that were more popularized by the beat miners. Pete was actually the first one to really start doing the echoing bass lines, all the interludes in between the songs on the album, and even the layering. I mean, Bomb Squad was great at layering. I'm no way saying that, but I'll never forget when I really got into digging, and Straighten It Out was always my shit. And when I realized that this nigga took 3 different albums and put them together to make Straighten It Out, and I thought Straighten It Out was just a straight loop. I thought I was just gonna hear it, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Cool in the Gang, that's this, and that's that. Like, and you just made it sound like this. It's amazing. So definitely Pete Rock on that. E, who you got up next, bro?
This is the GOAT segment right here, man. MC, we're gonna go with the most influential rapper ever, Jay-Z. Where do you want to start? You know what I'm saying? Like, where his cadence and all that originated and all that's up for debate. But you want to start with niggas throwing away their jerseys to wear button-ups? You want to start there? Or do you want to start with, volume 2 when everybody was chasing Swiss and Timberland after he dropped that album? Or he did it again with the Blueprint with Kanye and Just Blaze? Or do you want to talk about how he's selecting who's performing at the fucking Super Bowl now? Like, the influence is ridiculous from, whether it's within the music, whether it's outside of the music. I don't think anybody could even compete with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's been going on for a long time, and I don't think we've seen the last of it, to be honest.
Right.
There's gonna be more shit. You got rappers talking about Art Basel was mad popular. This dude started talking about, I'm not saying he's the first, but
right.
I wasn't there for that, but there's a difference between the first one who did it and the one who made it popular, right? Like the Rizzo was the first one that made a beat with no drums, but he certainly popularized it. You know what I'm saying? So LL Cool J wasn't the first one that made a song for a woman, right? Popularized it. So it's like, Jay-Z's influence is second to none. You love him or hate him, it is what it is.
Right.
Then we're gonna go with Michael Jackson. I mean,
hold tight. Let's start with Jay. I wanted to jump on that real quick with the Jay. The thing with Jay is I call the nigga the Wiz. If y'all remember the Wiz, when they be like, yo, the color's green, and everybody's green, then they be like, nah, nigga, color red. Then everybody red. Then like, nah, nigga, we turn it to another color. That to me is who Jay-Z is. I mean, even through the bars, fuck Chris Styles, so they asked me what we drinking. Mm-hmm. That's real. That niggas is like, Jay, what we drinking now? We don't fuck with Chris Styles? Okay, what we drinking? That's real shit. And I don't wear jerseys. I'm 30 plus. Give me a crisp pair of jeans, nigga, button up. Like you said, David Stern, the commissioner of the NBA, was mad at Jay, like, nigga, you fucking up my sales. When MC can affect the sales of the National Basketball Association, that's crazy. True story. I was with my man. I was at my godson's birthday party. I had on a Randall Cunningham jersey. I'm in Philly. My man comes up to me, whispers in my ear, yo, nigga, Jay said we don't rock jerseys no more. It's a true story. True story. He said, yo, we don't do that no more. And I'm like, God damn, like, y'all really? Like, this is usually some Twitter shit, but this was in real life. Like, and he whispered it to me. I love him too, because he whispered it to me. I guess he was trying not to play me. Like, nigga, you played out over here with this jersey on. So I'm gonna just whisper in your ear, take that shit off. We don't wear jerseys no more. But that's how that, and this is street nigga. This wasn't like no square type nigga. This is a street nigga who's telling me, yo, take that shit off. My nigga Jay said we don't rock that no more.
Kill, like, I'm very glad you stopped me, because now I gotta go back. Right, you go as recent as the 444 album.
Right.
They tried giving this nigga the credit for grown man rap, bro. Like, he just started it.
Bro, there were niggas who literally were talking about credit. Niggas who I've never heard in my life mention a credit score before was like, yo, I gotta get my credit together. And I'm like, God damn, Jay got niggas on the corner talking about getting their credit right. That's influence. Right.
Who says it? You know what I mean?
Right.
And,
right.
What was the other thing I just had in mind?
Oh, here you go. Here another one. What's the difference for a 4.0 and a 4.6? You got here's the other one. We don't drive X5s. We get those to baby mamas. Yep. I remember I knew niggas who was like, yo, I gotta trade in my X5 now. I'm like, yo, I'm done. I'm like, God damn, it's scary. It's a little scary because it's like, God damn, my nigga, like, you got a BMW X5. This is probably a car you had to work hard for. And you were going to trade it in because Jay-Z said, oh, we get those the baby mamas. Like, yo, that right there is an influence I don't know if I've ever seen before. There were niggas who would stop rocking what they like. And I think that may be the most influential. When I can talk to a nigga who I know you like jerseys. Like me, I still got jerseys. I sold a lot, but I kept like a lot of I was on some fab shit. I had Alex English jerseys and all that shit. All my Sixers and Philly teams I still got, but I knew niggas who loved rocking jerseys who stopped because of Jay. Like, and that's influence when you can make a grown man stop rocking something, and he loves it. Like that's it's scary too. It's almost like God's level.
Weird.
It's almost like it's very like, man, if I could get y'all to listen to Jesus as much as y'all listen to Jay-Z, the world would be a much better place. But
sure.
So I'm with you. That's why I call him the Wiz, because if he says it, it's all.
Let's also talk about this, right? And this might be more impact than influence, but it's still relative. Let's talk about how, right, Nas will drop 6 albums with Hit Boy, and they're all good pretty much, right? And I see more buzz on Twitter over one Jay-Z feature than any of those albums. I'll give you an example. When he did What's Free, that's all niggas talked about on Twitter for a week. When he did God Did, that's all I seen on Twitter for a week. I never seen no buzz around a Nas body of work like that. That's crazy. I don't agree with it, but it just is what it is. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. That's more media driven though. Jay got all the media people in his pocket though.
It's media to an extent, but it's also niggas like money. Niggas like money. Yeah. And now people are starting to gravitate towards Nas because now niggas are knowing Nas got some paper behind him. But niggas follow the money. You know what I mean? So
that Jay influenced that.
Right. You know what I mean? So again, it is media, but it's also niggas just like money. I always say if Beyonce leaves Jay-Z after Lemonade, we looking at a whole entirely different Jay-Z. Entirely. Like if she takes half the money and this nigga's back in Marcy, like if Jay and Dame switch spots, Jay's still just as talented as he is. We'll have the same music. I guarantee you the fan base drops very much for Jay because they're enamored not just with his rhymes, but what he represents. That's what people, in my opinion, care about more. They care about what you represent more than which you're kicking. You know, so again, if Jay lost everything in a divorce to Beyonce, this nigga's not on the NFL, he's not selling out Yankee Stadium, this nigga's doing SOBs. That same off just doesn't happen. And I think Nas is getting that off because now we know Nas got money. You know what I mean? But I do think that plays a part. But I know you got Michael Jackson, and I know Vague wants to jump in on that too. So talk about Mike.
Michael Jackson is just anytime you turn on the radio, you hear the influence is never going anywhere. It's just never going anywhere, right? You talk about D'Angelo influence, right? Heavy influence. When did D'Angelo debut? That was 90 something.
96.
And how many years MJ dropped before that, and his shit's still going further beyond. Started before and goes further beyond, right?
Yeah, I want to say Off the Wall was like 78, 79. So yeah.
And nobody's transcended the generations like Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like literally 5-year-olds right now that they're familiar with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
That's like, these are kind of the obvious ones, but I want to make sure we talk about them because they should be mentioned. And then I got Premier. Because Premier, when you think of the term boom bap, you automatically think of Premier, right? All his sons, the Ninth Wonders, the Alchemists, before they all established their own sound and identity, it was Premier babies. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean, you ain't really got to say much more about that. And even when the scratching on the records and all that, he got a lot of sons out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I definitely think Premier is like the GOAT of scratch and choruses. I'm not saying he's the dopest DJ in the world, but Jazzy Jeff to me can't scratch a chorus the way that Premier does. Like Primo just has the science down perfect for doing that. Like I always say, it's the same with R&B. Ashanti is great for hooks. I think Ashanti's going to give you a better hook than Patti LaBelle could, but of course, Patti LaBelle's the better singer. But if you want a dope hook, you go to Ashanti. So again, not saying Premier is the dopest DJ ever, but when it comes to scratching the chorus, Mass Appeal, just all the joints he got and the way he does it's stupid. I remember they were doing something like a Brandy challenge where they was trying to do Brandy's riffs, and they had a Premier scratch challenge. It was like scratch this record like Premier. Like that's the influence of that. Spence, who you got up next, bro?
I got Slick Rick. Storytelling. You know, obviously there was storytelling people before Slick Rick, but he perfected it and made it his thing for his whole album. Then you have, you know, the influences. You have Nas, you have Ghostface, you have Pharoah. Matter of fact, it's just storytelling in a lot of people's albums now, and you get that from a Slick Rick. Whether it's cinematic, you putting a little comedy, a little humor into it. Rather, you might have a dramatic story as far as telling your storytelling. Slick Rick can do it all, and I think people took pieces of Slick Rick and implemented in their style and put some of that on their albums.
Right, and we can't ever forget Dana Dane. So there's always Dana. So you always got that in the pocket too, because Dana is all Rick. So you know you definitely got that. AG, who you got up next, bro?
Real quick, y'all excited about the Michael movie? Y'all think that's gonna be dope?
See, I hope it is.
Yeah, I hope so too.
I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not gonna go see it. My wife wanna go see it. I'm good. I saw Michael's life. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good on it. I'm good.
Oh, you saw him live twice?
I saw him live at the Victory Tour in '84.
That's what's up.
But yeah. I mean, I was a shorty. I was 10, but that's like one of the dopest memories. Like, yeah. So that was crazy. Who you got up, AJ?
I'm gonna go with Wu-Tang Clan, but not for why y'all may think. They flipped the business world on its head as far as group business models, shook the game up completely. What RZA did, masterminding that, them signing the Loud, and then each individual member being able to get their own solo deals at the record label of their choice, and then forcing the labels that competed with each other to have to work together and collaborate if they wanted other Wu members on those albums. Genius mastermind planning, mastermind idea. And before that, if a group signed to a record label, they would only pick out like maybe one front man and say, okay, we're going to release a solo album with you, and then the rest of them, you know, we don't care. And it was understood that solo album would come out on the label that the group was on. You know what I'm saying? So the freedom that it gave individuals, the deal that and shout out to Steve Rifkin, but like the deal that they had constructed with Loud just totally shook up the game, and groups never signed the same type of contracts ever since then. You know what I mean? And group artists that went solo always went to different labels or whatever and were able to make stars of themselves somewhere else other than their, you know, company that they signed their group deal with. So I just, you know, I don't think that gets talked about enough what they did on the business side of things. You know, people want to talk about Wu on the rap side of things and RZA on the production side of things, but they don't never bring them up as far as like big hip hop business. And nobody freaked the game like they did. That was like probably one of the most groundbreaking things that ever happened in hip hop, period.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't talk about it because the average person don't know about it. You know what I mean? The average person, you know what I mean? That, you know, especially a lot of young boys on Twitter have no idea that deal was put together and everything like that. But to what you're saying, it's amazing that RZA had like the foresight to think like that. It reminds me of this deal, because I still don't understand this deal that Ryan Coogler had with Sinners, but I just heard that it's this crazy deal where after so many years, he owns the rights to the movies and it'll be all his and it won't be the studio. So this deal he did with Sinners is crazy, but it's like RZA did, I don't want to say a similar deal, but RZA just did an incredible deal like that. But now we going back 30 years, which is really a testament to RZA on a whole nother level. Like you said, because you got Meth on Def Jam, Dirty was on Elektra, Ray was over here on Loud, Ghost was on, I think, Sony for Iron Man. So like you said, it was just all over the place. So yeah, definitely, and nobody really talks about that or the business model for Wu Wear. With Rest in Peace to Power, knowing the stuff with that. So Wu themselves could be one of the people who has a huge influence on this entire game too. So don't pull AG.
You mentioned that polo piece for Puba, another iconic polo piece. That
Snow Beach.
We all know because because of the chef. It's too much with Wu-Tang, man. We be here all night with Wu-Tang alone.
Yeah, that is true.
Got like five first ballot Hall of Famers, 2 debateables. Like it's too much, bro.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, that's true. Vay, who you got up next, bro?
RZA and Divine worked that deal.
Yeah,
he get paid off of all those deals also. So it was really the brothers working that deal. I got Tupac. But I have examples that they're not necessarily copying Tupac straight through. They influenced in one way or another, right? So like this didn't dawn on me until maybe like a year or so after he dropped, but Master P kind of had a lot of Tupac flow. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I didn't notice it at first. But somebody pointed that out. I was like, oh yeah, he does kind of rap in the same cadence as Tupac. Obviously Ja Rule like kind of had the look, no shirt, the ball head, the bandana. But when you go to somebody like DMX, I think it was less the look and more of the passion of Pac, right? Like Pac,
how they connected to people,
right? Like Pac was 100% himself, whatever he had to say, and I felt like DMX was exactly that. Like I always loved that Breakfast Club interview where he's not sitting down, nigga standing up the whole interview, and they was like, "Yo, you don't like Ross?" And he was like, you could tell he didn't really want to say it. He knew it wasn't PC, but he's DMX, and he was like, "Nigga be talking about food and shit." And I was just like, you gotta love a dude like that. Like he's just him. And I think Tupac was a lot of that. And I think that passion in his music, like you said, how people relate to him on a much deeper level than him just being a dope rapper. You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like, obviously there's way more than that, but I feel like there's a lot of people who learn, like you could even say Kanye in some regards, because that was his greatest trait. Just that nigga being honest about anything. Like he didn't give a fuck how it made him look. He was just gonna be honest. And I think like Tupac's lyrics and what he talked about, even when things happened to him, right? Like getting shot, like niggas wouldn't have been talking about getting shot at all. But then when Tupac got shot, it was, anybody who had an accident was going to talk about it.
He made a whole career off getting shot after that, and the game.
Right, exactly. So, in a lot of ways, Tupac, and obviously a bunch of ways more than that, but he did influence. He even influenced Big in a lot of ways. I don't think
Nas and Jay.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of Jay was taking a couple of bars and shit, but we ain't gonna get into that.
The me and my girlfriend sample
It's a lot more than that, man.
We ain't gonna get into it. He looked like Tupac for many years too.
Hey, Veg, like just the image of it. Just the image of it all, I think Pac is like what Iverson was to the NBA. What Big say, tattooed around your gum wounds. Like, as far as like rocking a lot of ink, shirt off, all that stuff. People had tattoos in the NBA before Iverson, but as far as like that much and brandishing it and showing it off, like same thing with Pac and what he was to hip hop. A lot of tattoos, shirt off, showing that, just the imagery of that. I think what Pac was to hip hop, same thing Iverson was for the NBA and the league. Now it's like commonplace,
The big Pac and Nas influence is the Godson Across the Belly.
Yeah.
Because Tupac had the thug life, like ain't no rapper was like that, like him. Like I don't even think he did a fucking video without it, with a shirt on, before he went to jail or shit afterwards. So he just a lot of people in different ways. So
that's what Nas said on the Cure. He said, Pac copied his QB chain, but he copied Pac's tattoo, so he wasn't mad about it.
I think we should mention that the cadence is Scarface's, but like we said, just because you did it first don't mean that you popularized it. I do believe that like Master P and them got it from Pac, but it was Scarface first.
Yeah, Pac love face. Pac love face.
Right. Right. Nah, good point, E. Good point, E. Sean, what you got up next, bro?
So he took my Wu-Tang and RZA that I wanted to go with, so I'm not going to expound on that. I'm gonna pivot and go with the ASAP too, Q-Tip and Tribe. They gave birth to Mobb Deep, Outkast, two of the biggest groups on both on different sides, East Coast and down South. And not only that, just the influence of Tribe within itself, being conscious rap, but also having that dark element that he was able to get into the Mobb Deep side. Mobb Deep was the dark element of what Tribe was. You know what I mean? And think about what Outkast did. They were just a southern version of Tribe. They always talked about how much Tribe influenced them. And not just that, but just also the entire Dungeon family. You could say that came from the Tribe cloth. So again, AG, I wanted to really get into my Wu bag, so thank you for taking that from me. Got the Park Hill hat on today, and you want the Wu. You know how I feel about RZA. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna stay in Queens and go with Q-Tip and Tribe.
All right, no doubt. Next person I got up is the boy who said when they thought pink polos would hurt the rock. You know what I mean? And that's Ye. You know what I mean? Like before Ye, I remember Ye dropping and me loving it. Like, yo, this is a breath of fresh air. Like, it took me back to the 80s when it was like, yo, you didn't have to be a killer. You didn't have to be on the corner. You didn't have to be any of that stuff. And it was like, yo, it's just a regular dude talking regular people shit. And I think he kind of kicked the door open for the Kid Cudis, for the Chance the Rappers, for Tyler the Creators, for the Travis Scotts, all those MCs who could just be themselves. I mean, I never forget, like when Kendrick, Cole, and Drake really was first popping, I was so happy because I'm like, yo, the three biggest MCs in the game, nobody's killing nobody. These are just all regular dudes. I mean, I know Kendrick got gang ties, but he wasn't like this gangster rapper. Like, I never looked at Kendrick as a gangster rapper. And Drake ain't no gangster rapper. And it was just like, yo, they just all regular bulls. And that was that. I mean, clothing, from them Yeezy things. I mean, I ain't no disrespect to anybody who rocked them. I just wasn't a fan of them plastic joints he had on. And I mean, just all the stuff from, bringing Low back and the sneakers and just his influence and everything like that. And then the influence of 808 and Heartbreaks. Like, I know a lot of people don't like that album, but again, I felt like it kind of brought in more rappers using auto-tune, and now everybody's using auto-tune. And again, I'm not always saying it was an influence for the good, but it's just about Ye definitely influenced a lot of people. Next up, I got, give me one second.
Let's also talk about the ridiculous shit where they try to say he invented soul sampling.
Oh, man, stop. Man,
I'm just saying, though, as stupid as it is and as untrue as it is, that could just go to show you he got so big that they tried to say that. Right.
And again, I think a lot of that, and I don't know how until hip hop, like, I feel like is like taught in schools. And I'm not talking about just colleges. I'm talking about taught in public schools, that depending on your age, you only know what you know. You know what I mean? So for the person who's like really falling in love with hip hop and they're fucking 14 years old when the Blueprint comes out, in your mind, Just Blaze and Kanye West are the fucking fathers of soul sampling. You know what I mean? And if you ain't got an older brother or an old head to kind of be like, nah, nigga, cut that shit out. Niggas been doing that for years. That's all you think is what it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, you're 100% right. You're 100%. And not to go back to Jay for a second, I remember when niggas was not sampling no more. Everybody was on a Triton with Swiss Beats. My OG, a kid called Roots, was like, nah, fuck them records, man. We ain't sampling no more. We get this Triton. Boom, here come the Blueprint. Everybody's right back to the record store again. Like, it was like, we right back at it. Like, open the record stores back up. We back at soul sampling, and everybody was doing the whole chipmunk soul. There wasn't no name for that shit before Justin and Kanye was doing it. After that, it was like, oh, everybody's doing that chipmunk soul. I'll never forget this. Even the Clips had a mixtape out. Was it from the Casket Drops? And it was a Lauren London like snippet, and she was like, and don't be in the studio doing that corny whack chipmunk soul sped up shit that everybody's doing. Like, that was just the influence of like how you just stop people from sampling, and then it was like, okay, we could sample again. Like, that's still the crazy part of Jay's influence, that you had niggas like throwing away their records, going to buy Tritons, and even though it was Switz's sound, it really, and I know X was there, I'm not saying that, but that whole Money Cash Hoes phenomenon, that's for me, again, I could be wrong, is what really made that whole Triton sound come along. And it was like Jay saying, we ain't sampling no more, just like in the Wiz. Nope, we don't sample no more, we do Tritons. Then after 3 years, it was like, psych, we back to sampling, go get your records again. And then nobody was sounding like Swiss no more. Then it was like, that sound is dead. So R&B, we going with Mary J. I mean, the queen of R&B. You know, maybe like you said, E, maybe BBD was the first to do it, but Mary is what made it pop and what made everybody say, okay, yo, you could do this. You could sing over hip hop break beats. You got the Mona Lisas, you got the Miss Joneses. Even though Miss Jones was doing it kind of before Mary.
Miss Jones tried taking credit. She said her and Ron G started that. But.
Right. Which is very much, that's why I was saying, not really Miss Jones, the Monifas, the Faiths, all of that stuff, you know, it was kind of like all off of Mary. Producer, I had Timbaland, just like you said. I mean, the drums, I'll never forget, I was in the studio when 1 in a Million came on, and we're in the studio cooking, and that video came on, and we all just stopped and was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I've never heard nothing like that ever. I don't know another time when an artist like Aaliyah, who was messing with Candyman, who's the biggest producer at the time, went to like these nobodies and Timbaland and Missy and did better. You know what I mean? Like, that's very hard to be like, yo, Janet is fucking with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I'ma leave them and fuck with this new young boy, and got even bigger. Like, I don't know another artist. If somebody did it, correct me, leave it in the comments, whatever, hit me on Twitter. I can't remember an artist leaving an A-list producer for some new people and actually their career being better with the new people, which is amazing to me. Like you said, E, I can't tell you, everybody from hip hop to R&B to gospel was using them Timbaland drums. Gospel even jumped in the mix. Like, yo, I want that. And even when he started rocking with Danger, with that Future Sex Love sounds for Justin Timberlake, and the what was the joint, Promiscuous, with old girl, the white joint he was rocking for a while. Nelly Furtado, niggas started going that route too. Like, okay, boom, it literally, like, we just gonna follow what Timbaland does. So those were my three right there. Sean, I'm gonna come back to you so you ain't gotta wait all the way to the end. Who you got up next, bro?
I'm gonna go with Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim was the female version of Big, if you will, especially during the time when hip hop was kind of like really putting the women, women of hip hop out the window. They were like, yo, to push them to the side a little bit. You had Queen Latifah, of course, the legend. You have MC Lyte, the legend. But had Lady of Rage representing the West Coast. But Kim came through the door and just took it to a whole different level when it came to just being provocative and being outspoken and just having that empowerment, that pussy empowerment, to be quite honest. And it put the game in a chokehold, because you couldn't fathom a female talking like that, or rapping like that. You know what I mean? Even I know the guys had that poster of Kim, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what it is, right? I know AG still got that in his room right now. It's a little wrinkled up, but he still got it. But nah, everything she represented, representing Brooklyn, representing hip hop golden era, 90s hip hop golden era, and holding her own at that. And I love Foxy. Foxy's my one.
I was just about to ask you, because here's the wild part. At 52, my brain ain't the same. And even though I lived through it and was outside, I feel like Foxy and Kim remind me so much of Jay and Big. Like, I can't remember who said Cristal first. I can't. Yeah. So Kim was before Foxy?
Yeah, because Junior Mafia was 95, right?
Mm-hmm. Junior Mafia was 95. Yeah.
90. Ashacha was 90, what? Oh, that was 95.
95.
Right. It's one of those things where it's like, it's so close that I can't really.
Their album released very close. I think the album released like a week apart. Like a week apart. Yeah.
And it's so crazy, because like I said, they're almost like the female Jay and Big. They're both from Brooklyn. Yeah. They both talk the same shit. They both on that sex.
They both use their pens.
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? So
Facts. But Kim took I think Kim was a little bit more edgy.
Bigger. Yeah. When Shorty said I'm swallowing babies, I was like, okay, you got my attention. Okay, I'm listening. I'm all ears. I'm listening.
And she had, to be honest,
Kim's influence is heavier than ever right now.
Yeah.
Right, because you got Nicki, you got Megan Thee Stallion, you got Cardi B. Those are that's the fruit from Kim. That's Kim's fruit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Lotto.
So she's still, Lotto. You talking about 30 years plus that she influenced a whole female decade.
Tell me this, because this is a great discussion. What made Kim's influence? And I'm not saying you're wrong by any means. I'm just questioning, like, so Foxy, was it that Foxy wasn't as popular as Kim? Because I just remember it being like, yo, them both being on the cover of The Source. It was supposed to be a Thelma and Louise album. So I always felt like, is it all Kim? And if so, I'm just wondering why. And like Foxy doesn't get any of the love. Like, I know you said she was a little freakier, but I felt like it's almost like Big and Jay. Like, you could say they were different. Like, I always say, like, the difference between Jay and Big was that, like, Big, you got warning. It's C4 to your door. Jay is more of the political friend or foe. Like, to me, they're the same song, but they attack it differently. Same shit. Don't fuck with me. That's the moral story. Big is just saying, nigga, I'll shoot your fucking house up. No problem. Jay is more you're talking. Don't do that. Like, you're making me nervous. Like, same moral of the story. Get that shit out of here. But they're doing it two different ways. Did you feel like Kim and Foxy kind of did it two different ways?
Absolutely. Shock value. I think Kim had shock value that Foxy didn't have. You know what I mean? You heard Foxy on You Shot Your remix, right? And she killed that. She bodied that. She bodied, Ain't No Nigga. You know what I mean? Like, she bodied that. But the shock value that Kim had was just coming down an escalator, looking fly, talking nasty. I got buffoons eating my pussy while watching cartoons.
That is true.
Like that. You know what I mean?
You know what
that
I
is
believe
very true.
Them, though? You know what I believe separated them though? Is Kim was, the colorful wigs and all that. It was everything else.
Yeah,
right.
Well, Kim embraced her sexuality more. It's not that Foxy didn't do that, but I think Foxy concentrated more on hanging with the dudes she was on the track with, whether it be Jay, whether it be AZ, whether it be Nas. She was more focused on the bars and stuff and like hanging with the fellas, even though she embraced her sexuality. Kim was just trying to be as raunchy as possible, but still giving us bars. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the females nowadays are, because a lot of the things now is not as risque as they was back in the 90s. So they're full on embracing that side of it. You see what I'm saying? So
but AG, to that
you saying stuff now isn't as risque, or you saying back then?
Yeah, stuff now like is more accepted, now than what it was back then. So they're full on embracing what Foxy, what Kim brought to the forefront back then, which was more risque back then. You know what I'm saying?
Makes total sense.
My last point with this, if you think about Foxy and who she collaborated with, she collaborated really well. Kim actually stood out in her collaborations. You know what I mean? You had her with Puff. She overshadowed Puff. She overshadowed Junior Mafia. She always stood out amongst the collaborators.
Even with Quiet Storm, I'm one of the few people who like the OG Quiet Storm. The average person loved the Kim version.
It's tough because you're talking about Prime Prodigy, but Kim stole the show. So she always had that stealing the show when she was on a posse cut or when she was doing her thing. Whereas Foxy, she had those moments, but they weren't as high potency as Kim in those moments when it was, I got a bunch of surround. You know what I mean?
Great point.
Do you believe that the machine kind of helped Kim too, though? Being around Big, being around Puff. Yeah.
But Fox wasn't around no slouches, bro. She was with Jay.
But he was with Bad Boy.
What would he want?
Right.
She benefited from the Bad Boy motion, not even being signed to Bad Boy.
Because remember for a minute, because for a minute,
Junior Mafia and all of them.
Right.
It was just a whole thing. It was a plan. Like, we're going to keep stepping this up, and unfortunately, Big passed, but you see where it was going to go to.
Right. And even if, people forget on that XXL cover, Fox was on that cover with Jay when they was on some the Oval Office type shit. But then Jay was like, nah, you made your choice. You wanted to go with the firm. Like, you made your choice. Like, you wanted to fuck with the firm, so go fuck with them Queens niggas. So, great conversation, because I'm all
just like us.
What happened? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you think. You from Brooklyn, you want to go hate with the Queens niggas? Go right the fuck ahead, my nigga. Go right ahead. You know what I'm saying? So, Vay, who you got up next, bro?
AZ from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
that's true. But I always felt like the firm was Nas's thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Nas, Mega, Nature, whatever like that, you know. And I never thought about it like that until I read that article. But it's like, yeah, I guess, yeah, you kind of made your choice. Like, me and you had the song together, but you want to fuck with them? Nah, by all means, do your thing. I let me go get this light skin Mill out of nowhere. Let me pull her out of nowhere.
They took it a little. The Ether brought out why Jay took that a little bit more personally, but you know.
Had your face on fire. Right. So you got, babe?
I got Big Daddy Kane. I think I don't think he gets a lot of credit because, well, he gets credit obviously, but I don't think people always articulate what credit you give him because it seems like the focus is on the fact that he put out 2 classics and then he kind of took a nosedive career-wise. But his, like how Rakim has what he gave the game and KRS-One has, Big Daddy Kane shit is wordplay because nobody else was putting words together in the way he was and trying to rap fast and all of that before it was like a thing to do in the way he did it, right? So people like Jay, you know, like especially early on, like Jay had that fast rapid fire wordplay, you know what I'm saying, matching a bunch of different words and reminded me of him early Black Thought, right? Like shit, a couple times I thought it was Kane. Like, and I'm not talking about Roots album, I'm talking about early, like when you hear some of them early freestyles. And I remember reading an interview with him where he said that, like, yo, Kane was my guy. That's kind of like my foundation of how I built my own style was the wordplay. And you don't hear Kane's flow now, but the word placement you do hear from, you know, his early years and obviously being influenced by Kane. And I'm pretty sure it goes on and on to different people who, because, you know, like Easy said, you know, you may love Nas, but maybe if you don't know Rakim, then you can't see how Nas came from that tree. I think it's the same could be said for Kane with even somebody like Tretch, because Tretch gets a lot of props, but it's that same wordplay. And Kane was really the only one doing that early. You know what I'm saying? Then Eminem loved Tretch. So it's just kind of like, you know, it's he's almost not.
It's almost. It's almost like you gotta see the family tree, like, you know, kind of even like what Spence was saying, like it starts here. You could, you know, and you could see how it comes together. Because one of the things that Kane was rocking at 112 beat per minute, like, you know, set it off. Like people weren't rapping that rapid fire fast at that time, you know, and even just the spelling, the BIGDADDYKNE. The first time I heard that shit, nigga, you talk about brain emoji explosion. It's like our whole hood was trying to get that. How do you say BIG? Like it took time for us to even realize, like, yo, this nigga just spelled his name. Like, and again, when I talk to my students, they're always like, "Come on, Mr. Kill, stop." Like, the nigga just spelled his name. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't understand. In 1988, nigga, it wasn't just spelling your name. Like, then he didn't just say BIGDADDY. It's how you said it in the beat, and it just was smooth. And so again, like, I get how young boys and I got more to talk about that with Rakim, but yeah, you're 100% right, Beck, that Kane's wordplay was really crazy. Nobody was doing it like Kane at the time, man. No matter what it was, the fucking Lean On Me, this nigga got a song about Joe Clark. Nobody gave a fuck. The song was dope. The beat was dope. The video was dope. Like, yo, I'm all in it with Kane. You know what I mean? So great pull with Kane, man. AG, what you got up next, bro?
This next person, I don't really rock with him that much currently as a podcaster, but their influence can't be denied, and that's Joe Budden. More recently with the you know, he was one of the first during the blog era to really touch base with the fans. You know what I'm saying? Using the internet to his advantage, like dealing with a whole lot of label issues and stuff. So I'm gonna go like direct to consumer. You know, I'm not dealing with any label politics. So what is, you know, big right now as far as the streaming and all that? Joe was doing, you know, that on there 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
When he was, you know, live streaming, connecting directly to his fans, and then you know, using the internet to really get his music out there. And then he built his own little like ecosystem, you know. And then as far as the type of music he was putting out, the mood music, that level of introspection, you know what I'm saying? That level of introspection and All Love Lost, and you know what I'm saying, No Love Lost, like that series of albums and stuff. Drake has, like, before they had the falling out, Drake has said publicly many times that Joe Budden was one of his biggest influences. You know what I'm saying? From talking about his tumultuous like relationships with women, you know, the level of introspection he does within those tracks and all that, and just a lot of things you see today going on in hip hop as far as like how rappers navigate with their fan bases and the content that they have and stuff. A lot of that came from Joe, if we're being real.
Yo, AG, that's
podcasting itself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that's an incredible pull because I've said that for years, bro. Like, I probably started fucking with Joe probably like in 2009, 2010 when he had Joe Budden Jump Off, Joe Budden TV. You know what I mean? And I remember Joe and Tahiri arguing in the car. You know what I mean? Joe popping into his little spot in Jersey. What was the boy name? He used to run for UConn and he was playing for the Nets. I think he was in there with him. Like, Joe Budden TV was a thing. Like you said, connecting with the fans. I remember him being like, yo, we having a kickball game. Come through. Like, and just that. And again, and I say, this is how big Joe Budden TV was. When King Magazine was popping, every video vixen wanted to be on the cover of King Magazine. This dude got his girlfriend Tahiri on the cover of King. You know what I mean? Just based off of his online presence and everybody knowing who Tahiri was. So for boys who just was learning about Tahiri on Love and Hip Hop, niggas knew about Tahiri 4 years before she was even on Love and Hip Hop. You know, so that was how big Joe Budden's influence was, that you got your girl on the cover of King Magazine. Not an article in King Mag, no, the cover of King Magazine. That's a great poll, AG. You're 100% right. Joe Budden pioneered a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. So shouts to you for that, because I ain't even think to write that down, but that's super influential. Spence, who you got up next, bro?
R.I.P. MF Doom. I think for him, that was the infant stage of that subgenre of hip hop, where the kids like Tyler Creator, I Future, the Earl Sweatshirts, Iron Eagle Mike, all these people, that even the suburb kids that zoned in that maybe didn't come outside or didn't go to these parties, was like the beginning stages of social media and YouTube, where they fell in love with this guy right here, his mystique and everything. And he got a lot of kids, man. And I think he's like the very start of it before it started blowing up, and obviously passed away and everything. But a lot of kids and very influential in the game.
Yeah. It's crazy that you said, because it still bugs me out. Naomi is such a big MF Doom fan, and I've never been a Doom fan. Like, I love the joint he did with Madlib, Mad Villainy. No knock on Doom, not whack anything like that. I just wasn't a big fan. I'm a huge fan now, but based off of my daughter. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that she's probably been rocking with Doom since she was 16. You know what I mean? And I just got into his music because she's always playing the shit, you know, or if she's in the car with me, yo, can I play you some Doom? You know, so it's just crazy to me that he's even reaching her, you know, age demographic, and it's not because of me. Like, this is something she found on her own. You know what I mean? We just did it.
He samples, even the weird samples. He'll sample a Sade, stuff that you think that's like you don't pose a sample. He was sampling and make something.
And it's so funny because that's one of the reasons I didn't fuck with Doom at first. Because I'm like, you just sampling Anita Baker Sweet Love? Really, nigga? This what we doing? Nah, I'm good. You know, because I was in my bougie backpacker bag. I was at, who am I, Easy? I'm the president of Boom Bap Avengers.
Chairman.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm the chairman. Yeah. So, but now that I've let my guard down, and I'm like I was doing an episode of Daddy Daughter Digger, and we just listened to samples, and they was like, "Oh shit, that's Doom. That's where Doom got that from." And she brings up the Doom joint Friends, and she's like, "Oh, like," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, like this is dope," you know. But yeah, when it came out, if I would have been like, "Man, ain't nothing but Ronnie Laws over the fucking Houdini drums," so. The Boom Bap
John fire too, the way he putting that story together, Friends.
Right. But again, I had to come back. So E is right. You know, I may be coming back. I may not be the chairman no more. I may still be on the board of directors, E, because I'm starting to bring it down some. But yeah. So Doom. Yeah. Definitely. E, who you got up next, bro?
So I kind of thought of this one on the fly because y'all took Tupac, y'all took Wu-Tang, y'all took Lil' Kim. I had all them on my list, but I'm gonna go.
Keep in mind, bro. Build on it. Like if there's something that you didn't touch on,
there's been dialogue. You know, we've
okay.
Like I said, we could talk about Wu-Tang for 2 hours alone.
Facts.
But yo, there is not a hip hop act, in my opinion, more ahead of its time than Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay.
Like that shit has been like the way that shit has aged over the years, and as much as it's been done, I remember just as recently as, you know, like remember there was this big debate online about the Migos being the greatest rap group,
right?
And one of the Bone guys chimed in like, "Yo, y'all doing what we did." And you know, I don't really listen to Migos. I got, you know, no knock. I just don't listen to them like that. And I'm like, shit. You know, so Bone Thugs super influential. And even like, you know, they added the Big's influence because it was when Big rocked with them that the whole New York wanted to do that. But that really goes back to them.
Right.
Also, super duper influential. And then the way they did it, you know, they was, you know, from what I understand, they wasn't the first ones that was rapping fast like that, but it was like, you know, where they was mixing in the harmonies and the melodies and all that, and how big that shit is now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even rapping fast. They just, you know, the whole melodic thing, super duper influential. And then, you know, for producer, like I'm kind of glad you mentioned when you was talking about Kanye, not always for the better, but you gotta talk about Sean Combs. Like, you know, not only from the standpoint, you know, because, you know, we credit Big for all this influence, and a lot of that was his brainchild. You know, it just is what it is. You know, everybody wanting to hit the dance floors in that era and all that, but a big thing that I give him credit, if you want to call it credit, is he just gave like all the producers who rap horribly the courage to want to rap. The Jermaine Dupri's, the Timberlands, the Swiss Beats, like all these non-credible niggas that have no business putting their voice on record, and I feel like that has a lot to do with his influence. You know, because when you talk about Dre, right, we consider Dre a producer, but Dre's a credible rapper. Like he knows how to rap.
He's a very good actor.
Because he don't write a shit.
He's a very good actor. He's a very good actor. He's probably one of the best at it.
He know how to put it down. You know. So it's like, you know, I can listen to him rhyme and you know, I'm convinced.
Yeah, I've never listened to No Diggity and I was like, why is this nigga Dre rapping? Like, I don't think I've ever had that. Why is Dre on this song? Like, you know, if he was there, he sounded good.
You know, like I said, like all the other guys, I'm like, damn, like I couldn't tell you how bad my ears would bleed when I would hear Timberland rap in the beginning.
It's fun.
And I'm like, damn, like, or Jermaine Dupri, and I'm like, damn, this is bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I
gave everybody. I mean, Jermaine Dupri was rapping prior to that, obviously with the Brat and all that. But I feel like he was like rhyming more with his chest and more in the mix.
Right.
So much in the mix. You know what I mean?
It's funny, we were talking, somebody had said Life After Death was I put up my March Madness bracket. for what was the dopest album ever. And somebody was like, yo, Kill, this is some bullshit because you ain't even got Life After Death, the greatest album of all time on this bracket. And I was like, oh shit, Life After Death is the greatest album of all time. So it started this whole thing about that. And somebody was like, man, I can't listen to that shit because Puff's screaming throughout. And somebody was like, damn, I wonder can AI take that shit out? And it was like, yo, that may be a positive way to try to see, can I get Long Kiss Goodnight without this nigga screaming at the end? Like, I may have to fuck with that. So, nah, I feel you. The next boy I got up, we going back to who started us all off with what you said, Easy with Rakim, everything that you said. But one of the things I felt like Rakim did, and again, may not be the first, but I felt like Rakim was one of the first to bring the streets to hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, when I looked at the back of the album cover, now keep it in mind, I'm not doing that, what we know now back then, but I remember seeing the back of Paid in Full and just being like, yo, these look like some real fucking niggas. Like, this don't look like, no, just your friends on the block. These look like some heavy hitters. And then you come to find out years later, like, that's the original 50 Cent. That's Supreme. Like, it's all these big Paid in Full posse type niggas. And the first time, and Veg, maybe not for you because you were in New York, but the first time I'm seeing the Gucci Dapper Dan things is Paid in Full. First time I'm seeing the joints on the back of Follow the Leader. Like, I just felt like Rakim just had this, I don't know, like this. My man, I was with Ev the other day, and he was like, yo, man, I ran into this shorty. Yeah, the Mystique. Like, Ev was like, yo, I ran into this shorty who is like related to Guru, and she was showing me all these pictures. So Ev showed me all these pictures. Yo, there is not one picture of Guru smiling. I'm talking about he showed me pictures of Guru like in elementary school, fucking high school, like at parties. Like, this nigga Guru, like, he showed me 15 pictures of Guru's life, and this nigga has not smiled. And now I'm thinking, have we ever seen Guru smile?
It's one of those things when you never seen somebody smile and then they smile, but the smile looks scary to you because you're like, what the fuck is he doing smiling? He did smile, like on the Jazzmatazz joints. He cracks a smile on some of those videos. But
Okay, because it's just, I swear to God, Ev has these pictures. I mean, this nigga's like 5 in like elementary school, and he's not smiling. Like, he's at birthday parties with like his family, and the nigga is just looking straight. Like, does this nigga smile? Like, that's Rakim to me. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen Rakim smile. And like you said, he just had this mystique of the streets. Like, I didn't get that from Kane. I didn't feel like Kane was bringing the streets with him. But Rakim, I just felt like that was a huge thing for him.
A little more menacing.
Yeah, very menacing, and even like when I'm watching a Microphone Fiend video, just like the people who were in the video with him, just the people who were around him at the time. And I would love to know more about that because I'm like, yo, you from Long Island. So, and I'm hearing Eric B was like the gangster type boy. Like, I'm hearing he was the Suge Knight of the East Coast. You know what I mean? So was it more so like, yo, Eric is like, yo, these my peoples or whatever? Like, or whatever. I've just always wondered because I'm like, not saying there's no gangsters in Long Island, but I'm like, yo, how you with the Paid in Full pot? Like, why is the real 50 Cent on the back of this album cover and you from Long Island? Like, how do y'all even know each other? Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Eric B. Mm-hmm. Right. So, next up on the R&B, I got Janet Jackson. I just think, everything that she did from the dancing, like the Aaliyahs, just to me, everybody dancing in videos, the routines, all that stuff is Janet. Sean talked about Kim with the freaky shit. That was Janet. I remember Janet. I'll never forget when Janet went from Let's Wait a While, and I hated that fucking song because you had a lot of girls like, nah, let's wait a while. And it was like, copy Janet. And then the next album, she was like, yo, someday is tonight. And I was like, fucking right. Someday is fucking tonight. Like, let's fucking go. We was on this Let's Wait a While shit for 2 years, my nigga. Someday is tonight. And then by the next album, like, we are all freaked out with Janet. Like, that Rolling Stone cover with the Johns out, like Janet, like Mickey Mouse down there. I don't know if you ever peeped the tattoo she got, like with Mickey and Minnie down there. Like, so, the videos and just like, I just think the tours, like Janet was like a performer. You know what I mean? Like, Whitney was great, but you didn't go to a Whitney show to see a performance. Like, I went to see Jan maybe 2 years ago, and I'm like, yo, this shorty's like in her 60s, still put on a great show, hits for days. So I think that's Janet. And then on the R&B,
on Janet,
yeah,
because I've always felt like Janet was like, the blueprint for a lot of shit, but particularly like not the greatest voice, but gets
Oh, yeah.
by. The Sierras, the Aaliyahs, the Ashantis, right? That's what I've always done from Jay.
No, I agree. I mean,
too, by the way.
yeah, she's not a great singer, but she's just a great performer. Like, you know what I mean? Nobody in the 80s went to see Luther to perform. Like, we knew the nigga was going to stand still. Yeah. She got away with she got
and all that. I mean,
yeah, she fit in where she fit in. You know what I mean? And then on the producer tip, I mean, Teddy Riley. Like, he invented a genre. Like, it's just New Jack Swing. And if y'all haven't read Teddy Riley book, it's a very dope book. Very, very dope book. So if you haven't checked it out, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, up until the point where he met Michael. You know, then after doing the Michael album, the rest of the book just became about Michael. Like, it was like, oh, Michael would call me for advice. Michael. So, Michael's not a child molester. I'll let my kids around Michael. Like, it just turned into the Michael Jackson show. But up until that point, like, if you want to, like, I didn't know, like, this dude was like 12 years old, like, in like groups with grown men, because he was just like this prodigy, keyboard player and everything like that. Like, it was on some old, like, he damn near battling in the projects, like, yo, this my keyboard. Niggas like, yo, if you can't play good enough to get in the band, nigga, I'm taking your keyboard. So, and I mean, the whole hoopla with hit, the bad deal he was in, what I forgot his manager's name, Gene somebody, and just the whole guy breakup and everything like that. The only thing I'll say about this is it's very
Sweat album too.
What happened?
Said he didn't get $1 from Keith Sweat album.
Right. He talks about the Keith album and how they got together. So again, very dope book. Even to moving to Virginia and hold on, give me 2 seconds.
So what's the name? Remember the time?
Remember the times. Yeah, and again, you see, it's Michael, so it's
I'm reading it also. I agree. I think what slept on is this nigga produced the show as a teenager.
Yeah.
And he was fucking Kool Moe D's fucking success, basically, because he produced his biggest albums as a fucking teenager, which is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. And it was a lot of those things of like knowing that the fucking his studio was at the rooftop. I'm like, yo, this thing, how the fuck his studio is at the rooftop? Like, yo, that's crazy, So definitely, and then like I said, him jetting to Virginia and everything like that, but very dope book. So just Teddy Riley, I mean, New Jack Swing. I mean, that's enough said right there. E, who you got up for your last ball?
I gotta throw Lil Wayne in there.
Okay.
Lil Wayne got a lot of sons. Like him or not, he got a lot of sons.
Yeah.
I feel like Kanye kind of incorporated the auto tune in like on the 808s and Heartbreak, but Wayne really, really ran with it. Where he was like putting it in his rhymes and shit.
Yeah.
Which I think is weird because why you rapping with auto tune? But anyway. And then now you got all these new guys, the Futures, the Little Babies who all do it. I feel like that's Wayne's influence. What do you call it? The drug addict swag. I don't know what else to call it. You know what I mean?
That's a good name, bro. That's a real good name.
Like I just and I'm a Wayne fan. Don't get it fucked up. I fuck with Wayne. Like, he got albums that I really, really rock with, but he's very influential, not always in the best way, but influence is influence no matter how you look at it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta throw Wayne in there. Like, he's got a lot of sons out there.
Yeah. Nah.
Even Drake. Hold up. Drake, when you listen to Drake early shit, he got like a whole different voice.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he started to sound like Wayne.
Right.
That in itself.
Right. Now let me ask this, because E in Vegas, you rhyme. Do you think being around other people can influence you? Like, I know I'm always Philly, Jay took, fucking young Chris whole style. Do you think it could be if you're just around somebody all the time, y'all Young Money, y'all together every day, y'all in the studio every day, how easy is it for you to get influenced by somebody else?
I mean, look at all the Terror Squad guys that rap like Pun. Look at how Jewels and Jim sounded like Cam in the beginning. I think.
And see, I've always wondered that too, because with the Terror Squad niggas, since I never really knew them, I'm always just thinking, is Pun writing for them, or is it the influence?
I never heard Pun writing.
Triple Sess had a strong pen.
Okay.
Cuban Link, they all had strong.
Armageddon, True Cuban Link. Yeah, they all kind of like had that rapid fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun Coogee rap shit. But then, like I said, like, you know, when I was listening to the Diplomats and the mixtapes in the early 2000s, I'm like, yo, who's who?
Right.
It was all sounding the same. So I just feel like, you know, the influence is like natural. Junior Mafia, we knew Junior Mafia sounded like, because the same guy was writing everything.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a different thing. But I feel like it's I feel like it's kind of natural. However, that's what made Wu-Tang so special. You got 9 guys, 10 if you count Capadonna, and nobody sounded like, everybody brought their own thing to the table. So it is natural that, but I feel like Wu-Tang also emphasized on, like, yo, let's not sound like each other at all. Yeah. It was a very conscious effort to avoid that.
And it's funny because I know some MCs who will be like, I don't listen to music while I'm writing. Like, if I'm working on an album, I don't listen to music because I don't want to be influenced by whatever I'm listening to. You know what I mean? So I also know that too. Veg, what about you? Like, when you were at Morgan, like, you, all the people you was with y'all, could you see a little bit of Kel rubbing off on you, or you rubbing off on Kel or Woods or whatever?
First of all, pause.
I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't know we was on that time.
I know niggas were thinking it, so I just figured I'd say it.
I don't want to say anything.
Oh my God. No, man.
Because look, I don't want them niggas to see this. I want them to see this and be like, damn, Steve ain't say shit when he said that. But nah.
I know me, I'm 52, man. I don't know no pause, man. I do a cheesesteak show. I'd be like, yo, the meat wasn't good. Pause, kill, pause. Niggas a cheesesteak goddamn show. I'm not saying pause every time I say the meat, man. Goddamn.
Just say cheesesteak, kill. Just keep that. Yeah, don't say meat, say cheesesteak. Yeah.
God damn, I'm with Ghost. Y'all know I hate skits, but that Paul skit, that shit was the best fucking song on the whole goddamn album. I say, oh man, the air smell good today. Pause, nigga. You can't say that, nigga. The air smell good today. Like, goddamn, what can I say? The water too wet. Oh, pause, nigga.
Especially in New York, nigga, they'll pause you to death.
Oh my God.
Like, damn, I can't say that it's a nice day. Pause, nigga. You can't say it's a nice goddamn day. What the fuck is you doing? Like, I'm gonna just be quiet. I'm fucking.
That's influence. We gotta get at to Dave and them. That's influence in itself.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, I need to see somebody pause a fucking sign language person. Like, you be saying some, you be like, pause. Like, goddamn, I ain't even say shit. Like, but my bad. I'm sorry. Were you influenced? What's up?
What's crazy about that is that I just recently noticed that in volume 2, 98. At the end of Money Cash Hoes, Jay-Z pauses himself. He says, Rough Riders, pause. Pause, Rough Riders?
Yeah.
Hey,
that's crazy.
You gotta pause everything.
Too much. It's the New York guys are OD, man. OD.
Yo.
Can't say nothing around somebody from New York. Yo, you gotta pause
that. That Ghostface skit is perfect, man.
Yeah.
But my bad, babe. Did they influence you in any way?
No. I mean, I'll say this, like speaking, like, I think it's different for when you talk about like the Diplomats, Junior Mafia, and people like that. But what's different about the Wu that to me was similar to us was we already had our own style. So when we came together, it was more so we're influenced by the ill shit that's being said, the wordplay, not necessarily the flows and stuff like that. Now there is one person who shall remain nameless who did switch up their flows. Like, damn, nigga, Smooth the Hustler, now he did fucking DOS effects. God damn, nigga, what you listening to? And it was just because, you know, like you said, if you really like this shit, you start thinking of ideas, but you don't realize you're approaching it the same way, you know, Smooth the Hustler would and stuff like that. I guess I was a founding father of the boom bap generation because I was not trying to sound like anybody. Like, I think my personality made people and connections made people think there was a little bit of Nas in me, the way I approach things. But I think there's plenty of people like that. Like Rakim, we all have similar personalities, right? We could be quiet, we could be loud, but it's a lot of thinking. So a lot of times it was just more so like if because I told you, I think I said this on the show before, like me and Kel used to do shit. If we wrote a dope verse, we would, all right kids, we're gonna date ourselves, we would leave the verse on our answer machines, like we wouldn't even say shit, just start spitting, right? And then we see each other on campus like, yo, that shit you sent was fire, blah blah blah. And then when I got one, I'm like, okay, yo, nigga, blah blah blah. So it was influence in that regard, like the Wu, right? Sharpening your sword and shit. That got a dope verse. Let me go back and make mine doper. So it was more so like that. And there's nothing wrong with people being influenced in a way with flow. But I think it just depends on the person, who the writer.
Right. Spence, who you got up left, bro?
I got LL Cool J. Being like the first superstar MC, being versatile, knowing how to make many different songs, from a love song, storytelling, hardcore, whatever, even going to do TV and movies, then start hosting stuff like the Grammys and stuff like that, showing people that you can actually have a career in many different things and be very good at it. Stage performance. Right. Bringing that. Vague said that a couple weeks ago about his stage performance. But saying that you can actually have a career in music. I think he's probably one of the first to show people that you can last.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No. Should I pause that? Last?
It's in review.
All right.
I didn't even hear that.
I don't even know what the fuck the nigga said to even pause. Is it what?
No one knows. It just is in review. You just gotta figure it out.
We gotta go
make
back
it
to
last. So make it last.
Make it last is a good thing, right? Like that's
okay,
good, right?
I don't know.
I gotta ask. Like, if you win a shorty, you want to make it last, right? So make it last, not be pause, right? Like,
I don't know. I'm from Philly.
I'm with you, nigga. We on the same city. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, do you mean make it last and no over here? Okay. L is a great person. I mean, I know, right? This is where you got timeout on the game and go to the clock and rewind it back. Like, let's see, and which way did he say it? Okay, all right, we got it. Okay, now you lost the timeout, Spence. Yeah, that's some pause. Okay, so, but LL, I mean, just like we said earlier, what Big was doing, L did a great. I mean, Mama Said Knock You Out to me is such a great album because it touches everything that you could want to touch. You want the hood booming system. You want a round the way girl. The girls love it. But it's still a dope song. I never met any man who didn't like Around the Way Girl. Like every song on Mama Said Knocks You Out touches on something different. And like you said about Big E, LL didn't change it for anything. It's not like anything got not watered down, but it's softened or changed anything. I mean, fucking Jingling Babies, that was a house party turnout joint in the early 90s. So L is a dope pick, man. Very dope pick. AG, who you got left, bro?
Before I get to my last pick, I had a couple thoughts late that I wanted to expound upon real quick. My first pick was Nas, but one thing I forgot to mention was 25 years later, Stillmatic classic album is still at the forefront with, two of the biggest artists present day, with J. Cole mimicking Rewind with, The Fall Off Is Inevitable, telling that story backwards, and then Kendrick, the year before, doing Man at the Garden, mimicking, One Mic. So I thought, that's dope, kind of paying homage. So that's, big time influence with our present day biggest artists. And Easy, you brought up Jay-Z a while ago, and he was talking about all the things that he influenced, but for better or for worse, the not writing anything down. You know what I'm saying? And Kill, you brought that up. And I think it actually was Jay that did it first, because I remember Clark Kent talking about it, saying that he told Big that Jay didn't write nothing down, and then Big was kind of like taken aback by that. And then when they finally linked for Brooklyn's Finest, they was passing the pad back and forth like, you need it, and they was like, nah. So then they figured out they both didn't do it at that point because Big kind of adopted it. And then I heard
that Big was writing until the end of Ready to Die. Like he was writing.
Okay.
He said,
and then I know Jay said the last thing he wrote was like Can I Live, I believe. But at any rate, like Wayne has adopted that format. Bean said he adopted it, and anybody that's rapped before, I know Yeah, right. So you're a rapper. You got projects out. Vay got projects out. I used to rap a little bit. I know Sean dabbled in it a little bit as well. Like it does add to your flow because if you're reading off the paper, your flow can sound a little choppy versus if you have a verse memorized. But if you write it in your head, you know what I'm saying? It does add to your flow and your cadence to be able to just go in there and spit it. So, you know, some people say, "Oh, I didn't even write it down." Like, yeah, nigga, I could tell. You know what I'm saying? But the ones who got the ones who got good at it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that Jay, you know, they get it more so from Jay than anybody else. But for my last person, I got 50 Cent, and that's for the care and the effort that he put in the mixtapes, basically curating them like an actual album to like get hot. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we know the mixtape predates 50 Cent, but nobody really curated them like that before him. You know what I'm saying? Even like Wayne's mixtape run came after that. And then, you know, you got the Fabs of the world, you got the Dipset joints, you got, you look at So Far Gone with Drake and Friday Night Lights and the warm up with Cole and stuff. They kind of added to who they were, and people refer to those mixtapes as classics as part of their discography. But we weren't really heralded mixtapes like that on the level of albums until 50, you know, did that. You know, God's Plan, 50 Cent is the future, 50 Cent, you know, Guess Who's Back, those type of joints. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of the first of its ilk to be, you know, held in that high regard. So I'm giving 50 that credit and that influence.
You know where 50 influence was not good, in my opinion?
What's that?
Remember when the whole New York wanted to be the South? 50 spearheaded that shit.
Right, facts. Yeah. He changed up his he adopted the accent and all that. Yeah. He tried to blame it on getting shot, but you know.
Nice try, buddy.
Right. Vay, who you got for your last bull?
I'm gonna actually some mixtape shit, but I'm gonna go with DJ Clue. Prior to DJ Clue mixtapes were mostly blend tapes. That was, you know, what you would pick up, like a collection of songs and blend, you know, a couple of blends and stuff like that. But even the covers, right? There was one point where all mixtapes were just like a color with words on it. That's it. Like, you know, SNS Volume 1 and, you know, a list of songs. Clue started bringing like the pre-Photoshop style covers, and obviously it went from being about DJ Clue as a DJ mixing to more so about exclusives, unreleased joints, freestyles, kind of like a mixed bag of it just really changed what mixtape meant in a lot of ways at that point in time. And it kind of became the standard to where even some of those older guys started doing some of the same things with their covers, what was on it. So now you were like, you know, you getting Clue, but then you looking at SNS and you're like, oh, SNS got this fucking MOP unreleased song. So you kind of like picking up, and then Envy was basically Junior Clue because he really copied that same style and formula. And it was more so like a race for dropping unreleased material, even though it was dangerous. It was like a race for that shit at some point. But Clue was kind of like the mastermind and the number one guy, so to speak, with that.
For the worst, was Clue the beginning of the actual mixing dying?
Yeah, exactly. Because even with those records, he didn't do much to like, okay, I'm gonna scratch this up to blend it into this one.
He just do in the lab
and drop. Right. Just fucking drops and shit.
Vay, can I ask you something real quick? Can I ask you something? Do you think at one point in the mid-90s that it meant just as much for a placement on a Clue tape as it did on a placement on a major soundtrack? Because I think it did.
Hell yeah. It was that's what's so crazy about it, right? Like I remember a couple of homies when they started, you know, kind of getting into business. It was getting cool with like people like Clue, and I'm just hyped they on it, right? They bragging about position. Right. Yo, I'm on the third freestyle on the joint. I'm like,
Right.
Word? Like that shit you think about in radio with charting and spins and shit, right? Like you never think of a mixtape like how early you're gonna place on a mixtape so more people could hear you. But yeah, that shit was just crazy, and even you look at the Fluence now, right? Like on Clip's last album, you know, and
There you go. Yeah.
the J. Cole mixtape and shit. So it's just one of those things you kind of forget about that era because you know it's gone. But I think at least for me, I know that was like a big time in my college career because like we was on the mixtapes heavy like all the time, and it was like exciting to see if Clue had a new mixtape out. What he called it, "Show Me the Money" Part 1, 2, like these trilogies and shit. That just became dope.
Series and all that.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Sean, who you got up for your last ball?
That was a good one, Big. Yo, I want to throw back real quick to Kill. You talk about Puffy being all over Lone Kiss. You know, crazy thing is Capadonna was actually supposed to be on Lone Kiss instead of Puff. Puff pulled Capadonna off and put himself on because that was during the time.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, Capadonna was supposed to be just talking shit over, you know, just the hook of Lone Kiss. That was supposed to be Capadonna, but Puffy pulled him and put himself on it, which is crazy. I hate Puff for that. But
the funny thing about that is with Jay Electronica's Exhibit C with fucking Just talking on it. He even says, "Yo, get Puff to do this." So it's crazy that like it's the flip. Like it's like I'm talking this shit, but get Puff to do this talking shit. What's up, Vic?
Here's one more just to add y'all probably remember, but Foxy's brother did the original "Hate Me Now" hook.
Yeah.
Right, and they said he sounded like Puff, so they just went and got Puff, which is crazy.
It was Gabby, yeah. He's a dope, right? He actually write for Foxy as well. Gabby, yeah. My last one.
Pretty Boy, right?
Yeah, Pretty Boy. Yep. My last one, NWA. I was in LA this week.
I don't know how the fuck didn't I say that. That's great pull, Sean. Great, because I look at life. I look at hip hop as pre and post Straight Outta Compton. Like it literally changed everything. Great pull, Sean.
That's why I'm here. But shout out to Philly because I know they talk about Schoolie D. Schoolie D is the godfather of voice. We know that, right? But like he's mentioned earlier, it's about who got the most looks from it. And NWA was, you know what I mean? You're talking about the gangster rap that morphed into G-Funk era that became its own entity within itself. And I was reminded just being in LA this week, you know, being a New Yorker, and I'm going to these landmarks and remembering like, damn, that's Slauson right there. That's Compton right there. Or, you know what I mean? Just me revisiting just the thoughts that I had as a kid. Like, yo, I never want to go on the West Coast. I never want to be around that because that energy is different over there. I never want to go over that. But now I'm in business meetings and I'm going to these different landmarks. I'm like, no, that's where Ricky got shot. You know what I mean? Just thinking about just the influence that they had on the entire map, not just the coast, but the entire map. Because when we thought about gang shit, we thought about the West Coast. We thought about everything they were talking about, low riders and, you know, say what you want to say. 93, 94, West Coast was 92. West Coast was going crazy. You know, even Big say, you know, I want to sell records like Snoop. Oops. You know what I mean? So everyone was influenced by what they were doing because they were the ones who were really selling records. They were going multi-platinum, where a New York artist was begging to go gold in an era where they were cranking out classics. You're talking about Low End Theory era. You're talking about Illmatic era, Reasonable Doubt, you know, Life After Death, all of these. I'm not sorry, Life After Death, but Ready to Die. 36 Chambers, these are classics, barely going gold. When you had Snoop dropping multi-platinum, the Chronic multi-platinum, you're talking about G-Funk taking over, you're talking about gangster rap merging with that, with Cube and coming from that offspring of NWA, Eazy-E being at the helm. The entire movement was polarizing for all of hip-hop. And you have to give respect and tip your hat to that and just what they did, not just for hip hop, but just, you know, just for music as a whole and everything that they represented for music as a whole. So my last one would have to be NWA. Shout out to the West Coast.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, just cursing. I mean, shit. Before NWA, niggas said one curse word. It'd be all shit. You know,
Yeah.
Rakim, I'm gonna tear shit up. Second,
Yeah.
Cool G Rap whole first album, not one curse word. Second
Yeah.
album, fucking 8,432 curse words. Like
Crazy.
that was the influence of fucking NWA. The only last people I had, just little shout outs, Hieroglyphics. They I don't think they get enough love for the indie route. I remember living in Atlanta and them coming out with their own CD. They were doing it indie, had a website and everything. And this is in '97. They don't get a lot of props for that. Rock Marcy, like you said, Baby Kids. He got nothing but kids out here in these streets. R&B, Brandy, she's the vocal Bible. Any singer, you know, from 2000 on is gonna say Brandy has influenced them, from Kalani, Jasmine Sullivan, Aronde. I call her Aronde Grande. I could never say Ron, whatever the fuck her name is. I call her Aronde Grande, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Rihanna, Solange, Kelly Rowland, Erykah Badu, and then Marley Marl. Wanted to shout out this book because y'all brought up mixtapes a lot. So do remember, if y'all people out there ever want to know the history of mixtapes, this is gonna give you everything from the beginning. I mean, you know, just the old school mixtapes, how everything is. So if you ever want to know about the Ron G and the Kid Capri's and all the covers, and it goes into the 50 Cent. So everything we just got finished talking about, you want to do mixtapes, check this out. Sean, where can they get at you, good brother?
I'm everywhere. Me and AG, we in the Discord for Hip Hop Talks. Get at us everywhere.
All right. Veg, where can they get at you, good brother?
You can follow me on social media at Biggest World INC. You can also check out my podcast right here on YouTube, Hip Hop Now Podcast, weekly news and perspectives. And currently, 2026 is the 30th anniversary of hip hop albums that dropped in 1996. Some of which we talked about here. I did an episode with a guest for about 12 albums. And by the time this drops, a new episode will be out. Beats, Rhymes, and Life, Tribe Called Quest. And my guest is author Marcus J. Moore. And we talk about it because, you know, that wasn't a universally received album. So he loved it. I shoot from the hip. Some of that shit, I'm like, yo, nigga, what about this record? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was an interesting conversation, but it's always good to go back and talk about some of these albums, and especially 96. That year is just crazy. So.
Right. No doubt, no doubt. AG, where can they get at you, bro?
Adriel Green on Twitter. That's where you can find me.
All right. No doubt. Spence.
88 Spence on IG and Twitter.
All right. Easy. Let's talk about this album for a minute, man. Let's talk about what's the first single, first video, what you shooting next? What's
I've already dropped 4 videos to the album, so there's a bunch of videos out there. But if you subscribe, I'm at Easy Money ST everywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So the last single I dropped is Jules Infinite. That's one of my favorite joints on the album. That's just a straight up bar fest. You know, some scratches, little Prodigy nod on the hook. And what I really liked about it is that this album has a lot of songs with 3 verses. Whether they're you know 2 features or 3 verses myself. They don't all have 3 verses, but a lot of them do. Jules Infinite is actually 2 verses, but they're both 24 bars. So when you do the math,
it's the same.
You'll get your 48. And I'm talking heavy all over this shit. That's really, you know. So that's one of my favorite joints. I'm actually gonna shoot Be in the Locks. That's probably my other favorite joint on the album. Video to that's gonna drop soon, but the next video is called Stay Out. I'm just gonna drop a lot of videos, man. Like I said, I already got 4. I got at least 3, 4 more coming. Shout out to DJ Manipulator. He did the whole thing. 01830 was actually the zip code of Haverhill, Massachusetts. That's where I'm from. That's where I represent. And yeah, man, just pretty much just a little ride through where I'm from, through the crib.
Now tell me this: why was it important for the 3rd verse or for the whole 48?
Because I had this talk with myself, like, yo, you be talking wild shit about niggas and you don't even do it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know, it's not, you know, rap. I think a lot of it has to do with, like, you know, we complain, like, you know, everything evolves, right? And a lot of times we complain, and like I always say, you know, in regards to people, like, you know, dropping a lot of projects fast, or, you know, just kind of giving up on an album that they just dropped. Like, you know, I'll drop, like, my album just dropped March 20th, so it's what, April 10th, and people are like, yo, when you dropping the next one?
Right.
Like, bro, like, have you even listened to this shit yet? So it's like, you know, I'll complain about it, and then I'll kind of, like, do the shit I'm complaining about. Like, you know, I always say, like, if you don't want your shit to get treated like it's microwavable, don't treat it that way yourself. You know?
Right.
So it's like, I can't be out here like, yo, you dudes are lazy, you don't want to write bars. So I'm like, all right, let's do some of these three, you know, and it's not like loaded with 3 verse songs, and it is actually, because it's like, you know, even like with the features, but Be in the Locks is 3 verses, Choose Infinite 48 bars. What else? The Pleasure Is Yours is 3 verses. Like That is 3 verses. Yeah, a lot of it is 3 verses. And there's even, like, you know, the last song I dedicated to my late grandmother has like a bridge on it, like an R&B bridge. So just doing things like how the shit was what was the norm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Actually trying to push it and trying to, like, you know, drag the, like, let it burn a little bit, man. That's why I want to do a lot of visuals and all that. But, you know, all in all, if the traditional East Coast sound is your thing, if you're into that, I'm very confident that you'll enjoy this body of work.
All right, no doubt. You already know what it is with me, Kill889 on Twitter and IG. I gotta send a shout out to my wife and my daughter, because they got me his birthday present. Oh, number one, shout out Vague for his birthday. Me and Vague share the same birthday, April 3rd. So happy birthday to my brother right there. But they got me this comic book called Mystery at the Airport. And it literally has me in this whole comic book, and the whole thing is a legendary beat goes missing. Kill just wanted to enjoy his favorite place, the airport, but when a snowstorm traps travelers and an unreleased hip-hop vinyl is stolen from a legendary artist, the Apartment 5B podcast host must step up. Armed with unmatched hip-hop knowledge, fresh joins in the signature polo, Kill must navigate suspicious legends to find the thief. There's just one problem. He ate a huge bucket of movie popcorn and his stomach is fighting back. Choose your heart. And the reason this is so dope to me is because only these two can do this, because nobody knows that I love movie theater popcorn, but it upsets my stomach and I just don't give a fuck. I know I'm gonna be in pain for the rest of the night, but it tastes that fucking good. I mean, they got me up here with the Jordans on and everything, with the Polo Ralph Lauren, you know, joint on and everything like that. So this is just these are like the gifts that just are like super special. And it's like I'm stepping to the board. They even got the salt and pepper beard in there and everything like that. So, I mean, again, just very, very dope birthday present. I don't know how they pulled this shit off, but definitely had to give them a shout out for this. And then for people who don't know, I love comics. That's actually how me and AG and Sean got cool, was because our love for comics and everything like that. So just a very dope birthday present. So definitely had to shout them out.
Are you in the gym anywhere in that comic? Because comic killed Diesel.
Just my treadmill, man. Just my treadmill every day, man. That's it. Nah. This fibromyalgia, man. Yo, 52, man, is not common, man. I woke up the other day, I was like, man, my chest hurt. I was like, God damn, from doing push-ups? Like, God damn, I can't even do a push-up and without my old chest hurting no more. Like, it's a whole nother world, man. So enjoy y'all youth, man. Just keep enjoying. Go get stretched. I tell people all the time, please go see a chiropractor in y'all 30s. Go get stretched out and yeah, use your benefits. Niggas be fighting for benefits and I don't want the job, what the benefits look like, and then they never go to the doctor. Like, go fucking get stretched out. Don't, please take the advice and do it, man. Do it. But
you're not gonna pause that thing.
Oh, yeah, what is that? Oh, I gotta pause. What did I say? What did I just say? What did I say?
A lot of shit. Niggas getting stretched out, all kinds of shit.
Now, here's the wild part. In Philly, me getting stretched out could mean getting shot. The young boys just got stretched out on the block. Like, God damn, man, I can't say shit. Man, I don't even know how how New York niggas get through a conversation. Like, do y'all say pause every minute?
Yeah,
I
don't even use
y'all
that
just
shit.
so in, are y'all just so in
I'm the only
tune
one who
that you
took you
don't?
serious, man. I'm the only one who took you serious because I'm a physical therapist. I'm nodding like, yeah, man. Yeah.
Right, like,
it's
yeah,
him,
go get stretched
And
out.
everybody else is
Right,
like,
right,
pause.
Hey,
Pause.
G, you stretch niggas out.
right. Sean said he didn't keep it in count. Like, Sean got a whole count. Like, nigga, you got 8 offenses just in your fucking speech.
Right.
Like, nigga, come on, man.
This is
Yeah, see, he got a whole.
That's crazy.
What you gonna say, man? What you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, Easy. I think you were right on point. Hill is actually a boom bap Avenger because when you read that description, I was like, boom bap Avenger. Like the nigga gonna find an old legendary beat.
They
Got
literally
away.
made you a boom bap Avenger. That's ill.
Hey, man, but yeah, shout out to them, man. So, love that shit.
Man. That's beautiful.
Yeah. All right, y'all. I will check y'all next week, good peoples.
Peace.
All right.